Hello and welcome to another session on A Visit to Cambridge written by Firdaus Kanga. In my last session, we read about part 1 of this chapter, in which we read how Firdaus Kanga arranged a meeting with Stephen Hawking. He was on a walking tour in Cambridge, England. After meeting Stephen Hawking, Firdaus Kanga realized that his physical impediments could not stop him from living creatively. Now we begin with the second session on this chapter. In this part of the story, we are going to read what are Stephen Hawking's thoughts or opinions about other disabled people, how should people take their disability, and what message does he want to give to the world in general. Let's start with today's session with a reading and explanation of this part, and later on we'll summarize everything. As we begin reading this part of the chapter, we know that now Firdaus Kanga is face to face with Stephen Hawking and they are now having a conversation. Let me start reading. A lot of people seem to think that disabled people are chronically unhappy. Chronically means extremely. I said, I know that's not true myself. Are you often laughing inside? About 3 minutes later, he responded. Responded means replied. I find it amusing when people patronize me. Amusing means funny. Patronize means treat as inferior. And do you find it annoying when someone like me comes and disturbs you in your work? The answer flashed, yes. Then he smiled, his one-way smile, and I knew, without being sentimental or silly, that I was looking at one of the most beautiful men in the world. Firdaus Kanga asked Stephen Hawking a question, and he asked that a lot of people think that disabled people or differently abled people are extremely unhappy from inside. And he knows that it is not true himself, but he wanted to ask Stephen Hawking whether he was laughing from inside or not. And then after 3 minutes, there was a reply from Hawking, and he said that he finds it very funny when people start to take him as an inferior person because he is not physically able like other people. So they show their kindness, but in a way they make him feel very inferior. Then Firdaus Kanga asked another question, and he asked if he found it annoying when someone like him had come and disturbed him in his work. To this Hawking answered yes. But then with this answer, he did not want to be rude to Firdaus Hawking. He smiled his one-way smile, and at that point of time, Firdaus knew, without being emotional or without being silly, he knew that he was looking at Stephen Hawking, who was the most beautiful person in the world, because he was not just intelligent, he was also a very good and a humorous human being too. A first glimpse of him is shocking because he is like a still photograph. Glimpse means look. As if all those pictures of him in magazines and newspapers have turned three-dimensional. Then you see the head twisted sideways into a slump. Slump means fall limply or heavily. The torso shrunk inside. Torso is the upper part of the body. And shrunk is the past tense of shrink. Inside the pale blue shirt, the wasted legs, you look at his eyes which can speak still, and they are saying something huge and urgent. It is hard to tell what, but you are shaken because you have seen something you never thought could be seen. Now in this paragraph, Firdaus Kanga has described Stephen Hawking physically. He says that if you look at Stephen Hawking, the first look of him is very shocking because he is absolutely still, means without any movement, just like a photograph. And it seemed as if all the pictures of him which come in magazines and newspaper have suddenly taken a three-dimensional shape. He looked like a statue sitting in the wheelchair. Then one can see that his head is twisted sideways. It used to be sideways because it didn't have that strength to be upright, and sideways it would fall on one side very heavily. The upper part of Hawking's body was shrunk. It was very weak, and one could make it that it was weak inside his pale blue shirt. The legs were all wasted because he couldn't walk. But if you look at his eyes could speak, and they were so expressive that they wanted to say something very huge and urgent. He could speak through his eyes. But when you look at Stephen Hawking, you are shaken because you never thought that such a wonderful personality can have this kind of a physical appearance. Before you, like a lantern whose walls are worn means used and old, so thin you glimpse only the light inside, is the incandescence of a man. Incandescence means inner glow or light. The body, almost irrelevant. Irrelevant means unimportant. Exists only like a case made of shadows. So that I, no believer in eternal souls, eternal means everlasting souls, know that this is what each of us is. Everything else is accessory. Accessory means not essential but extra, though decorative. What do you think is the best thing about being disabled? I had asked him earlier. I don't think there is anything good about being disabled. In the beginning paragraph, Firdaus Kanga is comparing Stephen Hawking to a lantern. A lantern is a kind of lamp where there is lamp glowing inside, but it has walls or made up of glass. So he says that Stephen Hawking was like a lantern whose walls were worn, that is, they were old and so thin that you could only see the light which is glowing inside. In other words, Stephen Hawking's body was so weak, it was so shriveled that the body did not matter, but what mattered was the light of knowledge, the light of humanity, the light of goodness, which was glowing inside Stephen's body. And this is the inner glow, or the real light of a man. Stephen Hawking's body was unimportant. It existed only like a case or walls which was made up of shadow. But Firdaus Kanga said he never believed in souls because soul is everlasting, it never dies. But he feels now that soul is the only important thing in our body. Everything else, that is our body structure, outer beauty, or everything else is extra. They are only added because of a decoration. But what really matters is the soul of a human being. Then Firdaus Kanga asked Stephen Hawking what he thought was the best thing about being disabled. But to this, Stephen Hawking replied that there was nothing good about being disabled. I said, you do discover how much kindness there is in the world. Yes, he said. It was a disadvantage of his voice synthesizer that it could convey no inflection. Inflection means rise and fall of the voice in speaking. No shades or tone. And I could not tell how enthusiastically he agreed with me. Every time I shifted in my chair or turned my wrist to watch the time, I wanted to make every one of our 30 minutes count. I felt a huge relief and exhilaration. Exhilaration means excitement in the possibilities of my body. How little it mattered then that I would never walk or even stand. Firdaus Kanga added that Stephen Hawking must have also discovered that there is so much of kindness in the world because people are really kind and helpful to the differently abled persons. And to this, Stephen Hawking replied, yes, but the only disadvantage of his voice was that he could not convey the rise and fall of the voice while speaking. Whenever Stephen Hawking spoke, his voice was machine voice and it lacked the tone, the feeling, or the shades or the emotions which we all have when we are speaking. So his yes could not highlight how happily he agreed with Firdaus Kanga. Firdaus also added that every time he shifted in his wheelchair and he could turn the wrist to watch the time, he wanted to make every minute worthy of this interview. And whenever he could turn or turn his wrist or his body or he could move, he felt there was such a huge relief and there was so much of excitement that even now his body had so many possibilities of movement. And at this point of time, since he was comparing himself to Stephen Hawking's position, he found that although he could not walk or stand, it was very unimportant, yet he could at least move his upper body or his arms, or he could at least speak, and that is what were the possibilities of his own body, and he was happy about those possibilities. I told him how he had been an inspiration beyond cliche for me. Cliche is any phrase or idea which is used very often and then after that it loses its meaning. And surely for others, did that thought help him? No, he said. And I thought how foolish I was to ask. When your body is a claustrophobic room, claustrophobic means very small and suffocating. Basically, claustrophobia is an abnormal fear of being in an enclosed space. And the walls are growing narrower day by day. It doesn't do much good to know that there are people outside smiling with admiration to see you breathing still. Is there any advice you can give disabled people, something that might help make life better? They should concentrate on what they are good at. I think things like the Disabled Olympics are a waste of time. Firdaus Kanga told Stephen Hawking that he was an inspiration. But this word inspiration was not that idea which is overtly used and now it has lost its meaning. But it was a true idea that he wanted to express. And he also wanted to ask Stephen Hawking that for every other disabled person, has this thought of being an inspiration to others ever helped? To this, Stephen Hawking replied, no. And at that point of time, Firdaus Kanga thought that how foolish he was to ask such a question. He expresses that when a body is a claustrophobic room, claustrophobic means completely enclosed, totally closed by walls. If you are in a closed space and the walls of that enclosure are going narrower, they are shrinking day by day. The other people are happy that you are alive, you are an inspiration, they admire you. But when you yourself are feeling so suffocated inside your weak body, unhealthy body, then do those smiling faces really matter? No. Then Firdaus Kanga asked Stephen Hawking about his advice for disabled people. so that it could make their life better. And Stephen Hawking to this replied that disabled people should concentrate only on what they are good at. And things like disabled Olympics or something are a waste of time, because that is something which is beyond the capacity of that person. I know what you mean. I remembered the years I had spent trying to play a Spanish guitar considerably larger than I was, and how gleefully means very happily, I had unstringed it one night. The half hour was up. I think I have annoyed you enough, I said, grinning. Grinning means smiling. Thank you for. Stay. I waited. Have some tea. I can show you the garden. This line is spoken by Stephen Hawking. The garden was as big as a park, but Stephen Hawking covered every inch, rumbling along in his motorized wheelchair. Rumbling is a deep sound which is made because of the movement of wheels. While I dodged to keep out of the way. Dodged means avoided. We couldn't talk very much. The sun made him silent, the letters on his screen disappearing in the glare. Glare means light. Firdaus Kanga immediately knew why Stephen Hawking gave that advice, because he remembered when he was young, he tried to play a Spanish guitar, and that guitar was considerably very large. But he was not very happy to play that guitar because he couldn't handle it. And so one night, very happily, he unstringed it, means he broke off all the strings of the guitar. Now, half an hour was up, the appointment time was getting over, and so Firdaus Kanga wanted to take Stephen Hawking's leave. But Stephen Hawking stopped him and offered some tea while showing him the garden. The garden of Stephen Hawking was very big, it was like a park. But Stephen Hawking covered every inch of his garden on his wheelchair, while Firdaus Kanga tried to avoid coming in the way of his wheelchair. They both could not talk very much because there was a very harsh sunshine, and therefore Stephen Hawking could not see the letters and speak through that machine. An hour later, we were ready to leave. I didn't know what to do. I could not kiss him or cry. I touched his shoulder and wheeled out into the summer evening. I looked back and I knew he was waving, though he wasn't. Watching him, an embodiment of my bravest self, the one I was moving towards, the one I had believed in for so many years alone. I knew that my journey was over for now. After an hour or so, Firdaus was ready to leave. He didn't know what to do. He could not even kiss Stephen Hawking or cry. So he just touched Hawking's shoulder and then he moved his wheelchair out of the house. Firdaus looked back at Stephen Hawking and he knew that Hawking was waving, although Hawking was not. But as Firdaus was watching the brave Stephen Hawking, he felt he was also now his bravest self. He always wanted to become that brave, and now he was moving to that stage of life where he had always believed in his self-bravery. And now, after meeting Stephen Hawking, he felt that that journey towards his own brave self was getting over, and he was now closing on to his better self. After we have finished the reading and explanation of the chapter, let's now move on to comprehension check given on page number 104. Let's start with the questions. Which is the right sentence? Cambridge was my metaphor for England. To the writer, Cambridge was reputed university in England. England was famous for Cambridge, or Cambridge was the real England. The answer is third. Cambridge was the real England. The writer phoned Stephen Hawking's house. From the nearest phone booth, from outside a phone booth, from inside a phone booth. The answer is from outside a phone booth. Every time he spoke to the scientist, the writer felt guilty because he wasn't sure what he wanted to ask. He forced the scientist to use his voice synthesizer. He was face to face with a legend. The answer is second, he forced the scientist to use his voice synthesizer. The last question. I felt a huge relief in the possibilities of my body. In the given context, the highlighted words refer to shifting in the wheelchair, turning the wrist, standing up, walking, speaking, writing. The correct answer is first, shifting in the wheelchair, turning the wrist. Well, now we know or we understand that Stephen Hawking gave a very strong message. Firstly, he told that the disability should not be taken mentally. One should find out ways to overcome that disability, whether it is a mental disability or a physical disability. And when you are stronger in your own mind, then you become differently abled. And people who are differently abled should only concentrate on things at which they are good, not on things which are out of their capacity. By the end of this chapter, Firdaus Kanga knew that he had met a person who was the most beautiful person in this world. Not just his intelligence, but his heart was also golden. This famous cosmologist, physicist and professor battled paralysis for about 50 years. And finally on 14th March 2018, he left this world. But he has left a legacy of positivity, determination, grit and knowledge behind him for all of us. May his soul rest in peace. He'll keep inspiring many, some like him or unlike him, in numerous ways. As I finish with this chapter's reading and explanation, at the end I salute this legendary scientist who has not just imparted his knowledge and his ideas on his subject, but also shown us how we can live our life in different ways. That there is always light at the end of the tunnel. On this note, I finish my session. In my next session, we'll discuss the question answers and the textbook exercises based on this chapter. Till then, take good care of yourself and stay happy. Goodbye.